All right, in the last video of the series, we talked about how is it possible to analyze a deal within 10 minutes or less and provide feedback to your commercial broker about why the deal would work or would not work. And so that's pretty cool and critical to build trust with brokers very quickly, and also to not spend hours analyzing a deal. Now, if the broker says, hey, why don't you put something in writing, it's time to move to phase 2 of the process. And this is where you want to delve a little deeper and analyze your property more thoroughly to determine things like purchase price, NOI, projections, and more. And if this is your first time underwriting a multifamily deal, don't worry, it's a very methodical process. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the process of analyzing a 44-unit apartment building. This one happened to be in DC. And I'll be using the syndicated deal analyzer so that you know what it takes to make your first formal offer. Let's do this. All right, so you need to be able to answer a few questions before you make an offer, right? You want to submit an LOI, a letter of intent, and you do want to go a bit beyond the 10-minute offer. So what does the seller or broker say the financials are? What are they actually, right? Beyond the 10-minute offer where we use rules of thumb, what's the building really worth? And so to help us answer these questions, we're going to use a syndicated deal analyzer, probably the most widely used underwriting tool on the market right now. It's very easy to use. I want to walk you through it on this 44-unit deal today, and it's easy to use even if you're not a numbers person as well. So let me share my screen here, and let's take a look at the deal itself from the marketing package, and then we'll get into the analysis. All right, so here's the marketing package here for this. Is a 44-unit in Washington, D.C., Class C type, and this is a Marcus Millichap package, so it's got a lot of the unit mix, financials in there, as well as a rent roll. Okay, so again, we're going to strip out the thing that we did with a 10-minute offer, and we're going to go through and say, hey, they have their gross potential rent, their vacancies, their expenses, and their cap rate, and so this is why they're asking $2.7 million. Now, what we want to do now is we're going to apply our 10-minute offer to this. We did in the previous video. We noticed that the vacancies, et cetera, are 27%, which is higher than the rule of thumb. So we're going to keep it in place. We're not going to modify that. But the expenses are lower, below our 55% threshold. So we're going to make an adjustment to that here as well. So that's the process here. Now let me show you the syndicated deal analyzer where we want to take it one step further. So in the first column, we have marketing package where you will see the exact same numbers. In fact, you'll see down here that the NOI is 193, 7.1 cap rate, and so the value is 2.7, right? So that is column 1, marketing package. Next is kind of my version, right? This is our 10-minute offer, and you can see here that we kept this one the same. We adjusted now we're going to adjust the expenses to 55%. You can see here now that the NOI is 162. Sorry, same as here, 162. And then at a 7.1 cap rate, the value is just under $2.3 million, right? So these numbers now match column 2. Now, what we want to do next is we want to take a look and see, well, where are we with that? So we can go to the summary tab here, and we can populate the scenario with column number 2. And this basically feeds the model using this column number 2. And you can see here that this deal does not work at a 2.7 because we're looking for a cash-on-cash return. In this particular case, our threshold is 7%. Again, this was a little while ago. And we're looking for an positive IRR of at least 14%, right? So populating this with scenario number 4, with number 2, the way at 2.7 is not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to see what do we need to do to make those numbers work. So one thing we can do is, we know here that when we get this thing stabilized, in a couple of years, there's some units that are down. We're going to fix that. It's going to be 10%. Okay, and then our property manager is telling us that not part of the district, the expenses are going to be 50% as well. So we can take a look at that as well, and then now we can go in here and look at what that looks like with scenario number 4, and it's already looking a lot better. Now, we're not going to go in there. We're not going to give the seller credit for us doing all the work, but we're going to say, well, shoot, what can I do here? What can I do here? What if I'm going to keep it at 27%, okay? I'm going to keep it and what do I need to get the price down to? So let's say 2.5. Oops, that's a little much, right? So now I'm basically keeping this scenario in place. I'm keeping everything in place at 55%, even though this is where projected where we're going, but now I'm dropping the price, 2.5. And I'm going to look in here, I'm going to do column number 4. And you can see here that the returns still are not quite where they need to be. So where do we need to be here, right? So we can go down, let's go down to 2.1, and we're just dropping the price right now to C now. This is already getting lower here, so this is good. What about at 1.9? So now we're above 14%. So maybe it's 1.95. So all we're doing right now is we're trying to figure out where's that threshold, and maybe it's just 1.9 even to get really close to that IRR. All right, so oops, I went down a little bit. Should have been 2 even. Sorry about that. All right, so we're just under here, but you can see here, all we're doing right now is we're taking the adjusted financials in the 10-minute offer, and we're just dropping the price. Now, we can go in there like that, and we can say, hey, guys, you're asking 2.7, we're really at $2 million. Have a nice day, and they'll probably tell us to go away. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we can see what else we can do here. So we can see, for example, we're not going to give the seller credit for where we need to go, because this is going to take a lot of time and money to get to this point. But we can say, well, how about we give them a little bit, right? What if we gave them a little bit of this and say, we're going to underwrite this with 23% economic vacancy, right? I want to get to some other price here. And then our property manager is telling us 50%. So what if we assume we can get expenses down to 50%, within 6 to 12 months? What would happen then? So we're now at $2 million. Obviously, the returns are going to be much higher, so we can go up with the price. So let's go 2.3. Okay, so now we're above our 14% and we're above our cash on cash. So we're in the green zone. We can probably offer a little bit more given these assumptions. Okay, we're just under. So that was pretty good. Now, there's other things we can do, though, okay? So we can basically play around with our assumptions, but we can also go in here and say, okay, 2.3 is still pretty low. If I could be more to 2.4 or 5, it'll be more competitive. What can I do, right? So we can shop around with different lenders. It's very, very important that you know where the loan rates are. So you need to have a lender on board and you need a property manager on board here, because a big part of this here is going to be your rent projections, which we haven't really talked about yet either. Yeah, one of the things we have not even talked about is the actual projections. Very, very important. And this is where you really need to be working with a property manager, because you're going to get into P&L here. You can see here the average monthly rent currently is $929, right? We can see that by the scenarios here based on what they're getting, right? And so you can see here that what we're doing right now is we're using scenario number 4. So let's go back to 27 here, the way it is right now. So you can see here, if we're using year 1 projection at 929 and we're keeping everything in place, now we're getting into a little bit more detailed modeling. We're starting off like this and we're saying, look, we're not going to make any incremental improvements at all, but we will. So go to the property manager, and right now by default, this is going up at 2%. So I'm going 929 to 947, but you're going to be doing a bunch of work here as well. You're going to put some constructions in here, and so per your property manager, let's say in year 2, rents are going to be $12,000, and then you're going to, for some of the blended, it's going to go by $80, $150 total, and then in year 3, you're going to get to your target rents of $1,300. Now you're also going to go from 27 now down to 20, and then here, let's say you're going to stay at 15%. Now, what happens when you do that? And here you're going to go. Your expenses are going to go down. You're not even touching these. They're only going down because your income is going up as well. So if you do that here, you can see here now your return becomes much higher. And so you can go back in here, and now maybe 2.7 is actually not so unreasonable. All right, so 2.7, you can go in here. You can see the return is much higher. So what I'm saying is by going in and working with your property manager on what kind of work you're going to be doing. We also forgot the construction here. That's going to be very, very important as well. So right now we have 0 repairs in here, right? So we're not getting this for nothing. We're going to do our repairs as 0, but let's say it takes $1 million, right, to get in there. You're going to get that from your property manager or your general contractor, and now you can go in here and you can see that even with $1 million and this business plan, you're now in the green on this stuff. So this is basically what you do. You work with your property manager. You get your estimates on your construction and your rent projections and your expenses. Work with your lender to get the loan assumptions here, and then very quickly you can get an answer of what is that line in the sand? How much can I actually pay for a property and why? And then you can do other things, like you can create very complex projections for your investors, right? The investors are getting 7.5% cash on cash return, but what are those returns? And you can copy and paste this right into your investor package as well. All right, so by using the SDA and the 10-minute offer first, and then the SDA for phase 2, by working with your lender and your property manager, you can very quickly and confidently answer the question we allowed in the beginning, which is, what is the most I can pay for this and why? Making some simple assumptions from your team and creating very sophisticated projections. So I hope that you find the SDA incredibly valuable for underwriting and your deals and you're making offers. You can get the syndicated deal analyzer. You just search for syndicated deal analyzer or go to themichaelblank.com/SDA and you can purchase it there as well. So we covered a lot in this particular series here, really about finding deals, finding off-market deals, 10-minute offer, making offers very quickly, and then doing phase 2 analysis with the SDA. And so if you want to know more about the rest of the process, right, we have these four main pillars: how to get deal ready. We covered one of them, deal analysis and deal flow, how to raise capital as well. I'll show you how to start building your team and start raising money and putting your first deal under contract with this next video. So click here to watch that. Catch you next time.